before he moves.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nathan Soutar.
Nathan Soutar!
That's a sympathy vote and a half before we get up here. G'day guys. I am here to talk about Australia, and that's the most Australian I've been in the last 3 years by saying g'day. In 2005, in January 2005, I received the most life-changing romantic compliment I ever received. When Jay Beeren said to me, "Yeah, I guess you are cute." Now, this might not sound like such an amazing compliment to you guys out there, but when you are a 19-year-old nerdy kid who has been working with this beautiful bartender for 9 months and she comes out with it, it's a pretty big freaking deal, okay? So, to backtrack a little bit, in 2004, I was 18 years old and I started working at the Clink, and that's where I met Jay. Now, I was in that shitty kind of period after high school where you get where your friends start to splinter off a bit. They're meeting friends at university or school and stuff like that. And so what went from a Friday, Saturday night we were seeing them every single time turned into some weekends where I would end up being alone. You know, very lonely weekends. And I decided the best thing to do for this situation, to ensure that I always had something fun to do, was to work at a nightclub. So, I went out and I got a job as a glassy, which a glassy is what we call in Australia the person that picks up beer bottles and cleans toilets in a nightclub. So, the Clink, to give you a little bit of a backstory, because I think there's only 2 people from Perth in the audience right now that will appreciate it. But the Clink was a jail-themed nightclub in Fremantle, which was trying to take advantage of the pretty insignificant local jail that was a bit of a tourist attraction at that time.
Wow.
The reason that it was revered is that the 2 major things I remember is it had a smoking section at the back of the bar that was called the cells. Now, this was literally women and 18-year-old men, right? So you can get the kind of vibe that was happening here at midnight. And they would come in and they would start drinking at midnight, and the bar didn't close till 7 a.m. So take that, New York, right? Perth, Western Australia, the most isolated city in the world, closes at 7 a.m. So this is the clientele, this was the atmosphere we were all working in, and of course that would lead everybody to kind of band together as staff members, right? And that is how I met Jay. So I met Jay on the first night that I was working at the Clink, and she was just this gorgeous brunette girl, and she loved 80s metal. I think that was the big thing for me. Like, more so than anything, I look back when I think of Jay and I go, she really loved 80s hair metal. And that, you know, that's an impressive quality. So I had the crush on her immediately when I met her. And for 9 months, I had a crush on her. And I did what any nerdy 19-year-old would do that hadn't had a girlfriend at that point in his life, and I told her not a word about it or anybody else. So I kept this secret crush for 9 months. I did all the classic hidden crush moves. I would find excuses to go to her section of the bar to just be like, "Hey, do you need any bottles? No? Okay, cool." I'd wander off. I would swap with other people that were supposed to be bar backing or glassing her area. I'd be like, "You know what, man, I'm a big fan of that area. Do you mind if I work there?" And they'd be like, "That's weird. Why would you care about working in that?" I'd be like, "Look, man, just let me do it, all right? It's my favorite area." And then I would hang out with her on, like, from Monday to Thursday. I would just hang out at the worst dive bars in Perth because that was our weekend, right? Like, everybody from the staff would hang out from Monday to Thursday. And I was pretending I wanted to hang out with all the other degenerates that worked there, but really, I was just trying to hang out with Jay from Monday to Thursday. So this was basically my life for 9 months, right? Like, it was just this ridiculous hidden crush for this girl that was kind of friendly back, like, we're pretty good friends. And then it comes to this, like, one fateful night, which she did would like, initially look like a favor, right? Which was to give her cousin a job at the Clink. And I say initially look like a favour because if you worked there, you would know it is not a favour to give somebody a job at the Clink. So I am talking to Michelle at the end of the drinks that night, and we're getting on really well, you know, having a nice back and forth, and I thought nothing of it. And I come to the next Saturday. So fast forward to the next week. I'm coming down into work, all really excited to be seeing the general clientele and everything at the Clink. And Jay walks past me and says, "Hey, I think Michelle thinks you're cute." I was like, "What? Huh? What, really?" And she goes, "Yeah." She stops. She slowly looks me over and goes, "Yeah, I guess you are cute." And just like walks off to her area of the bar. Like, my mind exploded. This was mind-blowing to me. I could not believe that this girl had said it. It was just racing. I was like, "Oh my god, Jedi said you're cute. This is amazing. I've got a whole shift. This is going to be amazing. I gotta act cool. I can't like act like I'm like really impressed that she just said I'm cute. That's ridiculous. She'll be able to figure it out." And I am freaking out. On the inside. On the outside, I was the epitome of cool. I simply nodded, turned around, and walked the other direction. And I then took up the technique for the rest of the night of making sure that I didn't see or talk to her. Like, I avoided her like the plague. People are coming up to me going like, "You don't want to work that section of the bar?" I was like, "No, I hate it now. It's the worst section of the bar. I don't want to work there. That's ridiculous." Like, and I was so good at this technique that it was 9 a.m. in the morning when I was crawling into bed and I realized I hadn't talked to her for the entire night. And I thought to myself, "Nathan, you may have messed this one up." Like, you had this very small chance. And I'm about to dive into this big, deep pit of despair that I had this one single chance. And I'm freaking out and beep, beep. My phone gets a text message. It is 9 a.m. in the morning and I pick up the phone and it's from Jay. And it says, "You remind me of Zazu." It seems like some of you are aware of who Zazu is. So for the uninitiated Disney enthusiasts out there, Zazu is the Rowan Atkinson voiced character in The Lion King, the little blue bird, which I guess it's a compliment. She definitely meant it as a compliment. But I didn't want to look too excited that I'd just been called Zazu. So I texted back, from The Lion King? She replied back and she said, yes, from The Lion King. And that is my new nickname for you going forward, is what she said. But she also said she wanted me to immediately come to her friend's house and make out with her. Yes! Holy shitballs! If my mind exploded before, suddenly it was happening. It was 9:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning, and I got in my car and I drove to her friend's house, right? And I walk in the door and I, cordially greet her, and she says, "Hello, how you doing?" And then we proceeded to make out like two high school students having their first 7 minutes in heaven, and it was amazing. It was amazing. We were going at it just for an hour, just making out, because I like to be classy when 9 months of crush finally comes to you. And finally, her friend interrupted us, right? And she said, "Hey, do you want to go get breakfast and coffee?" Which I guess, in fairness to the friend, does make sense. It's Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Her friend is hungry. She's not an idiot with a job at the Clink that just got home. So we go to the coffee and the breakfast, and we're sitting there, and her friend is casually dropping references like we're dating. Like, she's going, "Oh man, I can't wait for you to double date with me and my boyfriend. We've got a dinner this week. We're going to a movie. Oh God, I can't believe it. You guys are so perfect together." And I'm like, "Oh, awesome." I am a pretty trustworthy guy. I figured her friend was not steering me wrong, right? So I dropped her off to the house, and I assumed we were dating. And I continued on that week, acting as if we were a couple. So I am texting Jay, I'm going, "Hey, do you want to hang out? Go to the movies? It's Cheap Ass Tuesday. Do you want to come get drinks? Do you want to go to dinner?" She had a lot of really relevant excuses that week, right? Her dad was coming down from the mines. She already had things in. That is the most relevant Perth excuse you will ever get in your life. "My dad is back from the mines." You don't fuck with that. Alright, you haven't seen him for at least 3 weeks. You gotta let her have it. So she's got all these really relevant excuses. And it gets to Friday the next week, and I have been going like overboard to say the least during this week. I've been telling my friends, I'm like, you gotta meet my amazing, awesome new girlfriend, man. She is the best. And I'm crushing her for 9 months. It's so good. And I'm like walking into work, haven't seen her since that night. I'm walking down the stairs and I'm like, Jay! And I walk over and I go in for the kiss. Right now, yeah, you already, don't preempt it. You know what's about to happen. So I go in for the kiss. And the worst thing that can possibly happen to someone when they're going to try to kiss their awesome new official girlfriend on the lips for the first time, she moves her head slightly so the lips hit the cheek and not her lips. Yeah, she followed that up with a 1-2 punch of we need to talk. And we all know what goes on from there. It's gone too quick. I'm not ready for a relationship. My heart was broken, right? Like, my relationship I'd wanted for 9 months had come and gone over 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning even, right? So I was just completely destroyed, and I went home that day, and it's 9 a.m. in the morning again, because that's the best time for things to happen in Perth. So I'm sitting there at 9 a.m. in the morning on Saturday, and I'm just racking my brains. I'm like, this can't be it. You've got to be able to turn this around, Nathan. And I'm running through what big romantic gesture I could pull to turn this around. And I'm actually literally thinking of romantic comedy movies and thinking, what can I just hijack, because I am too tired to think of my own. So I go with the one from Love Actually, right? Now, I've given you about 15 options because I said Love Actually, but the one that I went for was Liam Neeson's son when he runs to the airport after that girl sings the Mariah Carey song to say, I love you, and she just like kisses him and it doesn't matter. They ended up like, but it's like, if I can just have this amazing airport moment. So she was not leaving Perth at any time soon that I was aware of. So I thought, you know what, Nathan, you're an original guy, let's reverse it real quick. I made plans to move to Melbourne within 2 weeks. So that morning I got up at lunchtime, I went, Mum, I'm moving to Melbourne. She was like, okay, sure. And I made plans, I booked a flight, I organised to stay on my sister's couch. Like, I put everything into place to move interstate, because I knew that she was going to say, stay. Like, there was no way she was going to let me move to Melbourne. That's crazy, right? So I've like gone through all the works. There's no way she was seeing through this story. And I get there, my final night at the Clink, and I'm having the last staff drink, so it's 7 in the morning, and I'm thinking, Jay, she's really left it late in the game. But it's all good. I'm leaving tomorrow, this can still turn around. And she, like everybody else, saying goodbye, good luck, have fun in Melbourne, and she comes up to me, and I was like, all right, here we go. And she goes, have fun in Melbourne, mate. Grabs me, gives me a hug, and starts to walk off. I stop her, right? And I turn her around, and I stare her dead in the eyes, and I say, Jay, give me a reason to stay. She pauses, looks me dead in the eye and says, what? No. And then walks off back to where she was drinking in the corner of the bar. So I had pulled a ridiculously dramatic move that did not pay off in the short term like they say it will in Love Actually. But if anyone knows me, when I am pushed into a corner, I do it anyway. So the next day, I moved to Melbourne. I thought I was probably gonna be there for a month before I change it all around, come back with my tail between my legs, and I'm whatever. And then I ended up staying there for 6 years. So I went to university there. I made some of my best friends of my life there. Just discovered everything amazing. I found a way that I could come to New York while I was there. Yes. So if that is not a good reason to move to Melbourne, I don't know what is. So I guess, in closing, what I would like you to take away from this story is that sometimes those moments in romantic comedies are not going to end like you expect they will. But sometimes the ending's even better, right? Thank you.